Thank you and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Ms. Greenlee, Mr. Crawley, and Mr. Hawkins, three individuals who would like to talk about dads against violence this morning. And Ms. Greenlee, I think that during the last segment we promised that we would come back to you and to give you an opportunity during this 8-minute segment to not only talk about what you're doing, but to say something about this organization itself, which will allow Mr. Crawley and Mr. Hawkins to further elaborate upon some of the things and some of their feelings and some of their attitudes in reference to what we're trying to do. Because I think we're all involved in the same thing, and that is, how do we stop the massive kind of violence and disrespect that we have in our communities? Let's talk about it from that perspective.
Well, you know, first of all, Dr. Haney, let me just say to myself, let me thank my God for giving me this opportunity to even meet these two men to come into partnership with me on the Mothers Over Murder program that I already have with a group of mothers. I've always, every time I go to a funeral, I've always said, where are the dads? Because everybody comes to the mothers. That's normal, the mothers, the grandmothers. And but I've always wanted to know, how do a dad feel, whether that was your son or not? How do you feel to continue hearing about these young black males? Now, I know earlier you said violence is violence, and it is, but I am only here for my African American black males. I'm not prejudiced at all, but I'm staying on my subject of what I'm trying to accumulate, and that's bring some reduce the violence in my own community. These young men here stepped up to the plate one night coming over to my house is simply crying out for other men, and I felt if they talk, then other men would come behind them. When he said it's over 100 men already participating in this program, that he means by email, phone calls, asking us what can we do, and that was really overwhelming that they stepped up to the plate. We have a lot of organizations out here, and I'm not saying that. Everybody know I don't never pick out organizations. I don't worry about organization. But what we don't have grassroots organization. We can go to all these corporate businesses like Oasis, YMCA, YCAP, all the other ones. But who's going to someone's neighborhood? Who's going to someone's home? And this is the gap that we are filling. We're doing this, matter of fact, in the back of my home. And we have almost up to 30 kids that just comes in and out of there on a daily basis that nobody is talking to. Remember, I always say, we don't qualify for a lot of things that we want to put our kids in because of the budget cut or the income. It's always $1 too much or $1 too less. But we the one always get cut. So that means it's time for us to start something right in the middle of our section where we live at. And this is where this come in at. So I asked him when they came to me, well, what is it do you want to bring to the table? And he said, I want to step up to be the dad that you're talking about. And he said, I got a friend. And so when he brought his friend, which is Mr. Hawkins, when he came through the door, Crawley, when he came through the door, and I was like, oh my God, it's Tone Loc. Tone Loc was the original gangster rapper back in the early 70s and 80s, and that's what I call him. But when I found out he was blind, I didn't see the stick. And but I know he would follow my voice, but it was certain things I done, and I just asked him, are you blind? He said, yes, ma'am. I'm like, oh my God, that inspired me even more. That he's taking a chance of coming out, don't even see where he's walking, but he know what he want to do.
And Mr. Crawley, what are some of the things that you think about when you think about what you're doing here?
Well, I'm just trying to save another child's life. I'm tired of hearing all the time on the news that another child have lost their lives. And we have meetings every Saturday at 5 p.m. and we need a lot more dads to come out and support us. And, you know, I guess at the end we will give out our phone numbers and information to pretty much, you know, so they can get in contact with us.
Would you suggest, Mr. Crawley, that if all of the dads who have lost children in this city were to get together, they could make a powerful statement in reference? And I think that's what Ms. Green and the rest of you are trying to do, is to get all the dads. Have you thought specifically about the dads who might have lost children in this community and who might almost feel compelled to be a part of what you're trying to do?
Yes, that's what we need. We need them to come out so we can talk to them and see how they feel about situations and help us pretty much try to stop the violence.
I think, Mr. Hawkins, if we say that when we look at the statistical information, we're talking about hundreds of people dying in the streets of Nashville since over a year's period, we can say that all of those children had dads. And while they were not all men, all of them had dads and mothers, you see. And so in a real sense, if you could make them conscious, if you could get just those folks who have lost children during this period, I think that you would have a powerful say. What do you think about that?
Exactly. But we also out to the dads who haven't lost kids. You know, we're trying to stop all this. You haven't lost a child, come on in. You have lost kids, come on in. We can get together, sit down and talk. You know, a lot of these homes is broken now, you know, due to child support issues. You know, they need to give us back our lives. You know, you're taking our money and you're breaking our homes.
What do you mean when you say homes are broken because of a child support issue?
Okay, like child support, they take half your check. A man go out to work, they take half his check. That man come back in that same home, the mom and the fathers, they argue because this man not making the money he's supposed to make. So you got a boy out here, his son, you got a daughter out here. The son ended up selling drugs to try to make ends meet. The daughter hook up with some guy, she's pregnant. There go that vicious cycle. The dad's program, we're trying to break this vicious cycle.
And so what you're saying is that no matter what who the dad is, that if the family is receiving some kind of support from the state,